On behalf of Sri Venkateshwaraa College of Engineering and Technology, it's an immense pleasure to welcome the special speaker, faculties, and students for the one-week faculty development program on exploring entrepreneurship and startup opportunities. A young and vibrant special speaker for today's session is Mr. Guruprasad Bangle, co-founder and CTO of Solution Buggy, to present on the topic funding schemes and opportunity. To introduce him, Sir did his BE in RV College of Engineering and his MBA from Indian Institute of Weaver Consultant. He has about 16 years of IT consulting experience in
the video on for some time, and maybe as if there is some issue with the bandwidth, then I'll stop the video.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you and welcome to all of you. It's a pleasure to interact with the young entrepreneurs and people who want to get into entrepreneurship as such. It's actually a splendid effort from the college SVCET to start such a program. Having realized that entrepreneurship is something which is very much the need of the hour in the Indian context, be it in the service sector or in the manufacturing sector. So I think you guys are very lucky that the college is having such a program, and over the past 4 sessions or the last 4 days, you have got the opportunity to learn a lot of things, which when we were graduating out, it was mostly we had to learn by ourselves, or we had to see the existing industries and try to get some tidbits out of that. So a commendable effort, Mr. Anand, and also the coordination from Mr. Palanivel has been very good. Starting off, since Lakshmi has already mentioned about myself, I would not want to talk about what I am doing. But what Solution Buggy does, I would want to give a small understanding of that. Basically, Solution Buggy realized early on that there is a vast gap in the MSME segment. Whenever today, if you want to start an industry, or you are with the some component, or with some food product, or with chemical or pharma, you wouldn't know where to start, or which are the products that you would have to go for. What is the demand for the product? Which is a sunrise sector for the next 10 to 15 years? So for all this, you need an expert advice. Today, when you want to, order food, you have a platform, Swiggy, Zomato, or you want to get a plumber or an electrician or a hair, salon, you have another platform, Urban Clap, you have House Joy. But when you want to set up something in the manufacturing industry or in the SME segment, and you're going to invest, quite a good sum of money, be it 1 lakh, 2 lakh, or even 50 lakhs or 1 crore. And you don't know, you don't have a person to come and handhold you, telling that, this is the market research that has to be done. This is the product that you have to get into, and who are the machinery suppliers, which is the market that you can, sell this product in. What is the DPR, detailed project report, that you require? So all these things, there is no credible agency that will tell you that this is how you have to do it. That is where the opportunity we sensed, and we made a platform so that people could come in and put in their idea, and then of course talk to the right experts. And once they realize that this is the sector they want to get into, or this is the sector they want to expand into, it could be existing industries also who want to expand into. So this is where interest for not just a new entrepreneur who is setting up an industry, but also for an existing industry. Who does not want funding, right? Especially with this pandemic and loss of business and all. So there are host of ways in which you can raise funding, and the government also having realized that there is a big opportunity in this sector, they are also floating some good schemes as well, both the central as well as the local state governments. So let us have a look at what is the agenda for today. So are you able to see my screen? If anybody can confirm that I've just done a screen change.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You're able to see.
Okay. So basically, there are 3 proven ways to fund your startup at the idea stage, right? So the first obviously is friends. Friends who obviously will support you in whatever ideas you have. Next, you have your family, who fortunately or unfortunately have to support you, and then there are a few fools who will believe that this is the best idea. So I think with that, this is the end of the presentation, and we can all go home. Just kidding, huh? Because if it was so easy, then you didn't actually have a 1-hour session for just explaining what are the kinds of funding, and you would have anybody and everybody do a startup, right? So the agenda for today is basically to understand what is the challenges that an MSME would face, what is the market size, and what is the kind of opportunity for an MSME. How should somebody approach for funding a startup, and what are the options for an MSME that is in the micro. I mean, I hope all of you know what is an MSME, but it is basically micro, small, and medium enterprises, right? So, and whenever somebody is largely in manufacturing sector or in the digital space and things like that, then you will be classified as a micro, small, or a medium sector enterprise. Now, there are, like I said, a lot of government schemes as well, which are aiding this sector. And then there is key accelerators, or I can call them as accelerators and incubators as well, which are focusing on a host of sectors. And I'll also talk about a few companies in the manufacturing sector, which started as a startup and are presently doing pretty well. So with that, say when you see the challenges faced, it is mainly that it could be that you have an idea, but you don't know how to conceptualize it. Then in that case, you are thinking that should I run the business as a completely new business, or should I try to partner with existing players, or should I set up an idea and then see if somebody will fund it and then take it to the next level. So these are the lack of knowledge and exposure that we need to target and make sure that whatever business that I'm running is a well baked idea. Not that I'm just going to, I have some 5 lakhs with me now, let me try out this idea and then see whether there is a good traction or not. So that won't work, obviously. The next is accessing the skilled resource. So typically what happens is whenever there is a new idea that you have, and then you want to conceptualize it and make it big, you obviously can't do it alone. So you need to have either your friends, or you have access to good kind of quality people. They might not be initially your employees, or they might not be initially your co-founders. They can work on a part-time basis, see how the reception is to the idea, and then eventually join you full-time. Or they could be joining you as advisors, or they could be senior board members. So based on that, you can look at the resources problem. And getting the resource is not an issue, but trying, I mean, the way you approach these people, because obviously when you start off, you can't give them the high salaries and things like that. So there are options to give ESOPs, or you could give a part of equity in your company based on their efforts that they have spent. So they have, different kinds of names like sweat equity, or you could give them, direct equity into the company. So there are different ways you can attract skilled resources. Next is the technology. So typically what happens is, we have a kind of a mindset that, okay, this is how is across the world or across India itself, where, the same thing can be done in a more efficient manner. So this is where the lack of exposure or lack of knowledge in this in the technology front will be playing a big role. So this is another big challenge which a startup or an MSME faces, is they don't know whom to approach to get the right technology. In fact, there are a lot of technology which is already patented, or which, the lot of research has been done, and it is just lying without being commercialized. For example, in DRDOs or CSIRs, or in terms of food, if you look at CFTRI, IIFPT. So these are some of the big institutes doing a lot of research on technology, but nobody is there to commercialize it. And these institutes do not really have the bandwidth to go and commercialize these products. They have, some professor has done a lot of research. They have, made these technologies and they have it with them. And they are also ready to, either give a royalty-based kind of, knowledge sharing, or it could be a one-time technology transfer. So these are some of the kind of opportunities that are available, but it has not been capitalized. So in this case, and there are also a lot of foreign institutes which have very good ideas which they want to commercialize. But right now they are not able to get to the right people, or they are waiting for somebody to come in and take over. So this is another way where you can look at technology and also try to expand into these areas. Now, when you look at funding, so like I said, beyond friends, family, and fools, there is a very structured way of looking at funding. So a few of them I've listed here. That is the equity and the debt way, or you could look at different financial instruments as such, which will actually which are actually very beneficial when you are in the startup stage, right? So to address this, kind of a lacuna that is there in the market, there is no tech platform. So that is where Solution Buggy came in and said that, okay, we'll give you a platform, and then these are the kind of help that we can give you, and the kind of experts that we can provide. Right. So why should somebody get into the manufacturing sector as such? Because today, if you see, the MSME sector, because today, if you see, there are about 25 lakh new companies which are being registered year on year. Even 2020, which was typically termed as a very bad year for business and manufacturing sector and for startups as such, you saw 25 lakh new MSMEs being registered. So, and if you see on the right side, the typical areas where the companies are getting registered are in food and beverages, in pharma, chemical, electronics, and a lot of new enterprises started because of the India-China border fallout, because a lot of imports were banned. So how do they get the raw materials, or how does a pharma company get their intermediates or APIs as it is called? So a lot of young entrepreneurs from India, they started getting into these sectors, electronics and pharma and chemical and food. Though it is a evergreen sector. So this is where we saw there is a huge demand in this segment, not just for the market size, but also from a perspective of the kind of potential that is there, and the government is giving a lot of impetus with the Atmanirbhar Bharat and also the vocal for local schemes and things like that. So next we'll look at, at what is the kind of mentality a typical investor, comes from. Because we all, think that, this is the $1 billion idea and I have an idea and now I need an investor, and he should obviously, he should be able to figure out, right? Because I myself can see what is the potential in the market. So why can't the investor figure out? So this is what is our mentality when we approach an investor. But you have to understand it from his perspective also. In a day, he probably looks at 15 to 20 such companies, right, who are looking for investment. So how do we capture his attention? So it is not like, you'll run a very nice ad and then he'll get captured and then you'll start talking about it. No, it won't work out like that. So the basic, he expects you to do at least your basics right. So you have to obviously get your idea. It is good if you have already conceptualized the idea and done some prototypes and at least got an MVP in the. I think you had a session on MVP, so I won't be talking much about MVP. But if you have an MVP already in place, then it becomes more clear to the investor, and also he becomes more confident that you guys know what you're getting into. That why you need this funding, and this is when he can expect a return from this particular investment. If these things are clear, the rest of the things will obviously fall in place, because this will give him an idea that you have a good knowledge in the sector. You are very hardworking and committed to this particular startup. It is not that you want to do this on Saturday, Sunday, and the rest of the 5 days you want to work somewhere. It's not like that. The third thing is, that there is a significant revenue that you can expect from this sector. And fourth thing is obviously is, over a period of time, it is something that is a growing market. It should not be something that you are today going to set up a automobile manufacturing unit. Obviously, IC engine, that is the internal combustion engine, is going to see its is a sunset industry. Eventually everything will go towards the EV sector. There could be some obviously demand and things like that, but it's not the right time to set up a new market, new industry doing automotives. So it should not be a sunset sector. So if these things are taken care of, then the rest of the whatever discussion will be mostly on understanding if the team is good and if there is a good collaboration between the founders. So if I just put in a few key points which a typical pitch deck should have. Obviously, it should have a problem statement. What is the problem that you're going to solve? What is the solution that your particular startup or your particular industry is going to solve, and how is it going to solve? If it is already being solved in the market, how are you better than the existing solution, and why should somebody buy your solution? Right? That means, is there a good customer segment to buy your solution and at the price that you want to sell it for? The third thing is obviously the market size. Is it the Indian market that you are targeting, or is it the abroad market, or is it a very niche market? It's a very small segment, but it's a constant revenue, and it is it's for the next 20 years you are set. For example, you are doing some defense products. So obviously it's a very small market, but the demand is such that only you can be supplying, because obviously you will be categorized and you will be done all the due diligence and all. But and once you are made as a vendor, you will be supplying for the next 10 to 20 years for HAL or for DRDO. So, but then these are very niche markets. You can't take the same product and go and tell Maruti that buy my product. They'll tell obviously it is not related to their sector, and also they can't afford such a product. So then you are going to be a very niche player, but then you have a very good order size for the next 10 to 20 years. So you will have to figure out what is your market size. The next obviously more prominent thing is the revenue model. What kind of revenue you are expecting, and is it going to be a yearly revenue or a subscription based revenue, or is it a one-time fees that you're going to get, or is it a royalty kind of a model? So you will have to figure that out based on your startup. Next, who is the competitor? You can even do a 4x4 analysis and then see who is your nearest competitor, who is your farthest competitor, who are your competitors in the global market, or if the idea is very new to India, then that is a very good assumption that you can look at how the global market there was a player and then how it can grow here, right? So like that you can do a competitor analysis. And the next thing is obviously what are you going to make out of this by selling this product, how much you're going to make, what is your cash flow, what is your fund flow, and also how is your balance sheet and P&L looking for the next 3 to 5 years. Will you have cash with you, or you are going to keep burning cash for the next 3 to 5 years? Even if you're going to do that, it's a good idea. I mean, it's a good idea only if you're going to show something very significant. For example, the e-commerce players, the Flipkarts and Walmarts and things like that, even today they are not making profits as such, but they are going to showcase that their revenues have been growing. So this is something that you can look at. Next is obviously your team strength. You should have a very good team. It's not that one-man startup will not get funded, but it makes it more difficult for the investor, because tomorrow if you decide that you don't want to do it, or for example you get a very good job opportunity in abroad and you want to go for that, then the investor is left high and dry, right? So obviously they want to look at what is the team strength, who is collaborating, who is going to support each other. So is this a team that they can rely on? That's what they're looking at. Then next is investment proposal. You need some money. You are asking for say 1 crore for your investment or your startup. What are you going to invest it on? And how much are you going to give as equity to him, or are you going to take it as debt? So if you don't know, then you can leave it as it is, and then you can just tell it that I know, I don't know what's the current valuation, because valuation is a very difficult part of your entire pitch deck, because you don't know how much to value your company. Obviously, the investor won't know how much should he value it. He will value it at a very low rate, and you will be obviously thinking that this is the next $1 billion idea. So you will value it at $1 billion valuation, and both of you will never reach a settlement, right? So this is how most of the investment talks don't go ahead. So if you are not sure, just leave it as it is and tell him that you need 1 crore for doing what? The key areas where you want to invest. So I want to, increase my spend on technology. I want to hire, brilliant folks from marketing, or I want to look at technology transfer from abroad, or I want to, like say buy a patented technology from DRDO or CSIR. So where you want to invest it, that is where you have to be very clear on. So keeping these fundamental things in mind, I think if you have an idea in mind, or you have already registered a small one-man company, or you have registered a private limited company, then the first thing you have to do after that is go and register yourself on Startup India. The benefit is that at least people will get to know that there is a company of this sort in the Startup India website. And next is you will have to also look at what are the exemptions that you can look at, and get a startup certificate, right? Why is a startup certificate so important? The reason being that there are a lot of kind of redressal models, like say suppose tomorrow your customer didn't pay, then and you have a certificate, a startup certificate, and also you have a Udyog Aadhaar number with you, then it becomes easy for you to go and go to the MSME redressal cell and go and key in, what are the issues that you have, and they might help you to some extent to get that money back. Of course, it's a government run portal, so it has its limitations and it has its drawbacks and things like that. But to make yourself, at least to get yourself some help, so it will be very, very useful. And also, obviously, you get IT exemption for the next 7 years. So even if you start making profits, it doesn't mean that you have to start paying your IT for that. So for the next 7 years, if you are a startup which is eligible for IT exemption, then you can get that certificate as well. So this being the what is the approach that you have to get. Now is the biggest part is what kind of funding should you look at. So you would have normally heard things like go for debt, go for equity. So what is it that you need this funding for? Is it that you believe that your startup is something that will in the next 1 or 2 years it will start making huge amounts of money, and right now you need money to build your MVP maybe, or build your prototype? Then in that case your best bet is to go for debt. Why? Because equity is the most expensive thing in your startup. Nobody realizes it, because when you start up, your whole intention is, okay, I'll give out 15% of my startup. I mean, 15% of my equity, and let me get 1 crore or 2 crores for it, because it's very easy, no? Because it's just shares, it's just papers that I'm giving out. But tomorrow, just imagine somebody invested 1 crore and your company became 1,000 crores valuation, right? So, and you have already given him 15% of it. So he's got 150 crores, but just by investing 1 crore. So that is when, it becomes very expensive for you. Nobody realizes it. When you start a company, you think, I should go for equity funding. So this is where, of late things are changing, and there are new models that are coming in. When you go for debt, it is very simple. You either take a loan based on collateral, if you have collateral. If not, you go for unsecured loans. There are not many options, mind you. Very few options are there, but there are a few government schemes that you can look at when you are going for unsecured debt. And the third one is, if you are going for a manufacturing kind of an industry, then you have machinery hypothecation, wherein your loan is given for the machinery that you are buying. Right. So this is more simpler, and which obviously most of you who are going to start up, you won't be eligible for this, because it is a simple thing, no? So everybody is going to get it. So government has put in proper checks and balances. The banks won't trust you, because banks only trust Mr. Malyas and Mr. Modi's and some other people who are currently out of India. So whoever is in India and trying to do a lot of things, and you are at the very ground level, banks won't trust you, and they won't obviously give you all these kind of funding options. So the next one, what are you left with? You will go for equity. Now with the equity, the biggest problem is, like I was telling a few minutes back, you think your startup is valued at $1 billion. The investor, after going through your entire pitch deck and doing a due diligence for next 2 to 3 months, figures out that your current valuation is only 1 crore and you are at $1 billion. So where is the midpoint? There is no midpoint at all. So both of you will never meet, and at the end of it, he'll tell, this is not going to work out, and you are going to come out of that meeting. But the biggest way to iron out these differences, there is something called CCD. CCD is compulsory convertible debt. So what it means is, today you need 1 crore or 2 crore is what you figure out to run your startup, or to make your prototype, or for whatever marketing, and you have your reasons for that, right? And the investor says, today I don't know what is the valuation that your company is at. So let me do one thing. I'll give you 2 crores. At the end of 2 years, you think it is going to become 1,000 crores, right? So you give me shares at 15% discount. That is at 800. What is it? 15% is at 850 crores. You give me the shares, right? At the end of 2 years. So your whatever valuation you have reached, if you have not reached at 1,000, they say you have reached only 100 crores, then you are giving me shares at 85 crores. So you give me that option, and also along with that, give me some very minimal interest, say 3% or 4%, and you don't have to pay me now, but at the end of 2 years, you can pay me that 4% interest or whatever. But he won't take that interest as money. He'll again take it as shares only. So it's a win-win for all of them. You don't know, you think you are at 1 billion, he thinks you are at 1 crore. So both of you don't have to start that fight. So that is taken care of. Next is, you want 1 crore. And he also is ready to give you 1 crore, but he wants some minimal interest for it, because he does not want to lose the entire money. And at the end of 2 years or 3 years or whatever 2 to 3 years or whatever you figure out, he will get the shares at 15% discount from the market rate. Say tomorrow a big investor is going to come in. So before that, he will come and tell you, yes, tomorrow Axel Partners or Sequoia is going to come and fund you. As per your agreement, you have to give me the shares, and you are telling each share is 1,000 rupees. But as per your agreement, you have to give it to me at 850 rupees. So it's a win-win for all of them. You are also not losing too many things, and he is also not bothered much about this one because he's getting some returns on his money. So this is a new concept which is started to come in. It's been running for a long time in the US and UK markets and all. But in India, it has just started coming in, and a few venture funds and PE funds have started funding it in this way. So since we started the topic of funding, I also thought that I should give some idea about accelerator and incubator and all. So what is an accelerator? Obviously, an accelerator is something which you press hard, then the car goes fast, right? So similarly, an accelerator is somebody who will accelerate your entire journey of entrepreneurship, right? So today, if it is going to take you, 10 days to make, first level of connect with, your customer, and another 10 days to get a meeting, that another 10 more days to get, to get your proposal to him. So you have already spent 1 month. So instead of it, an accelerator will make sure that within 3 days you are going to reach the right person because they have some good connects and networks and all those things. And they will make sure that whatever idea you have will be conceptualized and also put into at least commercial testing mode in a very fast pace. So what would normally take you 1 year or 2 years to achieve, they will try and get to see that it will be done in 3 to 4 months. And why will they do it? Because obviously they are going to take some equity in your startup because they like the idea, or they have some very good connects who could be your customers, or they have some very good investors who could become your investors. So they have some hidden intention, or I would not say a bad intention, but this is what they are making their money, right? So, and they are going to fund you, maybe in some cases, and take some equity. So this is an accelerator. So what is an incubator? Incubator is somebody with the same kind of this one, but he has more noble intentions, because incubator is doesn't have a funding aspect as such, but he's going to promote an idea. Because you need an idea is basically like a small embryo, no? It has to become a complete plant and then a big tree and then start flowering and giving fruits. So incubator is basically giving that warmth and then making that, yeah, this is a nice idea. You need so many people to advise you. You need so many, maybe these are your probable customers and things like that. So at a smaller stage, and mostly an incubator is associated with the academic institute, usually the colleges, IITs and all those places. It is mostly an incubator. Whereas an accelerator is somebody who is like a company. Microsoft accelerator, you have Google accelerators, you have Y Combinator and all. These are the companies. They have a more, I would say, commercial mindset. Otherwise, accelerator and incubators are mostly to take your idea, to help you make your idea into a more of a product stage. This is where they come and help you. So, since I mentioned government is also doing a lot of things, I will kind of put in a few government programs. It is very mesmerizing to see that there are more than 31 different ministries today who have different funding programs. And if you count the number of programs, it's 110 plus. So none of us would have even thought that there are funding opportunities for even tourism. Then there is in choir and very strange sectors. Very small sectors. There is a lot of funding opportunities. And there are also government sponsored accelerators and incubator centers, like each of these, like CDOC or IAFPT, the Food Processing Training Institute. They have a small incubator center. So if you have ideas in these sectors, you can approach these people, and then they will help you to, either nurture your idea or do some ground level assessment of whether this is a good idea, whether it's got a good market. So that kind of help is also provided. And when I come to the direct credit kind of access. So if you look at the prominent ones of them, there are in fact around 27 plus programs, but prominent ones I just put it here. The credit guarantee CGTMSE scheme is mainly for when you are buying assets, like say you are buying computers, or you are buying machinery, or you are buying something which is a physical asset for your company. Then you have this option, and I think it has a maximum limit of 2 crores. So you can use this and buy it. And obviously there is a good this one. What is that? Repayment schemes are very good and things like that. Then next is the credit linked subsidy. So in this case, since it's a subsidy, you don't have to repay it, but it is not that it is given to anybody and everybody. So unless you have very good, political links and you know how to swindle money, you won't get this. Joking, don't record this. So it's basically, you see, it's a credit linked scheme. So basically, you have to actually show some production, or you have to show some, scheme or something. I mean, something which is physically usable. Then you can, look at such schemes. And then there is this PMEGP, and then there is PMKVY, which is the Kaushal Vikas Yojana program. So these are basically for providing more and more, employment, because as an entrepreneur, the government believes that you are going to create more and more employment, and especially when you are doing it in the rural sector, there are more, benefits as well. So since I am from the manufacturing sector, I thought I'll pull out one such program. If you see the kind of, assistance that they give, all of us, I think, should get into, entrepreneurship, because they are giving you assistance in marketing, they are giving you assistance in obviously they are giving you help in conceptualizing your idea, in quality, or you want to learn some new programs and new experience, I mean new design kind of things, they are giving you help in that. And then even if you are going to make your project report, for that also there is some subsidy. Eventually for everything there is financial assistance. It just depends on how well we can formulate our ideas, and who are the right people to contact to get this one, and also at what time should we approach it. Because today what is happening is people are not people are thinking, I have a very great product, and I'm going to spend my next 4 to 5 months making the product. I've made the most the best suitable product for this market, but I never spent any time in marketing it or in sales or anything. Now I have made the product and now I want people to come and buy it. It's not going to happen, right? So you have to budget for your sales, you have to budget for your marketing, and both sales and marketing are different, because when I talk to many people, they'll tell, yes sir, this is our sales and marketing budget. I said, what is your marketing budget, what is your sales budget? There is no difference. Both are same, sir. No, it is not like that. So marketing is basically telling that there is a product, this is what is required, because many times people don't know that such a product is there. Sales is directly selling the product. So unless people know that they need such a product, why will they buy it? No. So unless you market it well, people don't know that they need that product, right? So sales and marketing budget is also very important. So, and when do you start with your sales and marketing? Not when the product is completely ready. When you are even thinking of making the product, you have to keep, try to send some feelers. Say you are making a new millet based food product. So will you, go and make the product and then go and tell Big Bazaar or somebody that, I have a new product, can you buy it? It won't work out. So you have to, make some samples, give it to them, and then, do some small testing event, or go to ITC and then talk to their R&D heads and then tell them that there's a new product that I want to make. So these are some of the things that you have to start doing it. And for that, obviously, you need a budget. So for that, there is also assistance on that. So, obviously, a lot of talk has been done, and a lot of, today everything is available on the internet, whatever you want. But how do we approach these people, and what are the kind of things that you have to keep in mind? So I just thought I'll pull in a few websites which startups can look at. These are basically, accelerators. You can call them accelerators or even incubators. So, and a few are angel funds. The Indian Angel Network and things like that are angel funds. And they can, try to work with the STEP. I mean, Indian Angel Network has a program with STEP. STEP is the Science and Technology Entrepreneurship Program. And they are doing a phenomenal job in trying to basically catch the ideas at a very grassroots level and see if it can be conceptualized and eventually commercialized. So these are some of the key players in the manufacturing sector, like I mentioned, which can become the next unicorns. Not many of you would have heard these names: Zetwork, Enter, Venviz, and of course Solution Buggy. We are trying very hard to change the manufacturing landscape in India. And anybody wants to start anything in the manufacturing sector, or you want to diversify into a new sector within the manufacturing itself, then we are the people who can help you out. With that, I would like to end my presentation. Thank you all for hearing me out patiently. If anything was boring, or if you felt that something was going OHT, we used to call it OHT, overhead transmission, when we were in college. I don't know what it is called now, but please forgive me. And if you have any questions, please shoot it out. I would be happy to answer questions if it is under my domain. Otherwise, obviously, there is a standard answer. It's a good question, and I will get back to you. Thank you. Thank you all. So, Lakshmi, if you have any questions which people have asked, you can ask. Or I have this chat window. Let me see.
I'm waiting for the questions, sir.
Okay, sure. I'll just stop my screen share.
Okay, sir.
If you have any questions, you can directly ask, or probably I don't know what's the method. They can type it in the chat. Sorry.
No questions yet, sir.
No worries.
Thank you, sir, for the wonderful message on the need of the topic for the all young entrepreneurs, and for sparing your valuable time with us. Once again, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you.
Now I welcome Mr. Palanived, Assistant Professor from Mechanical Department, to deliver the report.
So, ma'am, can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Respected luminaries of the program, esteemed chief guest, beloved principal, cherished dean, precious faculty members, and most valuable participants. Good afternoon to all. This one-week FDP program was organized by Institution Universal Council successfully with the participation of different stakeholders from 5/7/2021 to 9/7/2021. During the last academic year, 2020-2021, we have conducted more than 100 plus free webinars, workshops, and FDP pan-India for school students, college students, faculties from academic institutions. In South India, particularly in the pandemic period, only 4 institutions were enthusiastically contributed in all activities, and one of among them in our SVCET college in Puducherry. Opening remarks for the FTB were given by Dr. S. Pradeep Devanayan, Principal SVCT. He welcomed the gathering and gave a glimpse of the activities going on this 5 days FTB. Resource person from reputed companies having expert in the different relevant areas related to the program delivered the lecture in the faculty development program. I extend my thanks to Mr. Rajiv YSR, IITM mentor, motivational speaker, VPETO Motors, who have rendered his speech on 5th July. I am delivering my heartfelt thanks to Ms. Rabia Bhatia, founder of ED Web Studio channel, CEDX speaker, who have discussed many topics on successful entrepreneurs on 6th July. I am also very happy to extend my sincere thanks to Mr. Amridip Bajpai, founder, Webstem Digital Enable Investor, IMA, who have rendered his speech on 7th July 2021. I am eager to convey my sincere thanks to Mr. Ramesh Kumar, Chief Technology Officer, Educate, who has delivered his speech on Jugaad Fugal on 8th July. I am very happy to share my thanks to Mr. Guru Prasad Bangle, co-founder and CTO Solution Buggy on the topic of funding schemes and opportunities on 9th July. There were more than 600 number of participants registered for this program from different universities and colleges across India. The program was enriching and intellectually stimulating for the participating faculty. Thank you to all. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Now I welcome Mr. Anand Raj, Placement Officer, to deliver the vote of thanks.
A very good evening to one and all. It is a great honor to deliver a vote of thanks on this occasion of a one-week faculty development program on exploring entrepreneurship and startup opportunities. It gives me immense pleasure in expressing my heartfelt gratitude to our chairman, Mr. B. Ramachandran, for his guidance in all aspects. I would like to extend my sincere thanks to our managing director, Sri R. Rajiv Krishna, and Dr. S. Vidya, Chief Operating Officer, Sri Venkateshwaraa Group of Institutions, for their consistent motivation. Next, I would like to take this opportunity to thank our beloved principal, Dr. S. Pradeep Devnayan, and our Honorable Dean, Dr. K.B. Jayaraman, for providing us with all the possible support towards organizing this event. I thank all the eminent speakers and delegates for their valuable time and enthusiastic participation for this program. I acknowledge the unwavering support received from the HODs, all the faculty members, and special thanks to Mr. G. Panivel, Assistant Professor Mechanical Department and IIC Coordinator of our college, for organizing this session in a well-directed manner. I thank the digital marketing team in their help for streaming our sessions on YouTube Live. The participants are very enthusiastic. I am thankful to all the participants for coming in online mode pan-India to attend this FDP. I am sure that all the participants must have benefited by attending this program. I once again thank everyone whose contribution has made this FDP a successful one. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dear participants, you will be getting your certificates by next week. Once again, thank you all.